I mean, was there ever any doubt that we were going to be tied going
No.
into the bullet? Was there ever an
No.
actual doubt?
I mean, it helps that, it's all scripted anyway for an unbelievable finale. And surprise, surprise, that we're going to get it in bullet. Queen a5, this very trendy move. And we are off in the bullet portion here. But that +1 is going to give Magnus a chance to hang with a bullet pro like Hikaru.
Early signs, Magnus playing the first Caro-Kann of the match, clearly indicating that with black he wants to play as solidly as possible. He wants to get structures that you're familiar with, and that becomes more important in the bullet than in the blitz. You want structures that you can play intuitively, as Hikaru there setting up a devilish threat of bishop takes h6, and, faking Magnus out. Bishop c7 is a big threat, and I think Hikaru's got the initiative early in this game.
Mm-hmm. And look, you're willing to actually make moves like knight h4, bishop h7, just knight back to f3. That's something that you would probably frown at in a blitz game, but in bullet, no, you're comfortable just probing around and not necessarily worried about every single move.
And Magnus continuing to steer the game in the direction that makes him comfortable. Now he repeats moves with queen g6 and queen f5. He can play g5 and force this bishop off. Instead, he expands on the other side of the board, and Hikaru does the same in the center. Queen b5 now threatens a4, and Magnus says, I'm not taking Hikaru's initiative sitting down.
Yeah, I mean, bishop h6 is one of the moves to look at, but it doesn't really come with the next move. Bishop e5, however, the f7 pawn is loose as well.
Aman, that's a knife, especially in bullet, because trading on e5 and dropping your queen back, I think Magnus might have to go for that line, but giving up f7,
Ouch.
The entire house of cards might come down in the center, but Magnus has to bite the bullet here. What happens after queen takes f7? Is it a4?
Queen b6, exclamation mark.
And a4, great move by Carlsen, very heads up, targeting all of white's pawns in the center, and we're going to get a Pac-Man game here pretty shortly.
And you could take that, but you could also take on e6. The thing with e6 is that a-pawn actually might be dangerous down the line.
Magnus could have thrown in rook f8 for starters, but that would have involved giving up the e6 pawn. Speaking of Pac-Man, who's going to take more pawns here? I think it's actually going to be white in the end.
Yep.
White might emerge with an extra a-pawn and a weak pawn on e6.
Wow, that's quite a move there. Sort of walking into it almost, but queen d2 is the next move, and these rooks, they defend each other, but they can't move.
In a blitz game, you would take white's position with open arms, but in the bullet segment, you have to defend against all these annoying threats. Black has a bit of an initiative on the king side. He can also drive his e-pawn up to e4 potentially, and Magnus does a... Whoa! He mouse slipped! What was that?
What did he mouse slip?
No, it wasn't a mouse slip. He was expecting queen takes e6.